Good evening. Tonight is the first of two nights that we have set aside to hear from PTAs, municipalities, civic organizations, and interested individuals on the superintendent's recommended FY 2022 capital budget and amendments to the FY 2021 through 2026 capital improvements program. As you can see, in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, this hearing and all testimonies will be conducted virtually this year. Tonight's hearing will be broadcasted live on television and MCPS media, including the MCPS Spanish YouTube channel. The board will hold hearings tonight and on Thursday, November the 5th, to hear public comments on the superintendent's recommendations. If alternatives are passed during either of the board's work sessions, the board will hold a hearing on November the 17th. If no alternatives are passed, there will be no need to hold a hearing on November the 17th. As always, board members look forward to hearing and giving thoughtful consideration to your testimony. The board is scheduled to take final action on these matters at its meeting on Thursday, November the 19th, 2020, and that meeting will begin at 5:30. The order of speakers is listed on the agenda that's available on the board's website. Board members will have the opportunity to hear from the community via either written testimony, audio, or video presentations. Only the audio and video testimony received will be aired during this meeting. Written testimony of those who signed up for tonight's hearing has been made available to the public on the board docs. So at this time, I will recognize my colleagues and I will begin with Vice President Wolf.
Good evening. My name is Brenda Wolf and I represent District 5. Thank you.
I'll go in alphabetical order. Mr. Asante.
Good evening. I'm Nick Asante. I'm the student member of the board.
Ms. Dixon.
Good evening, Jeanette Dixon, member at large of the Board of Education.
Dr. Daka.
Good evening, District 1.
Mrs. O'Neill.
Good evening, Pat O'Neill, District 3.
Ms. Silvestre.
Good evening, Carla Silvestre, School Board Member at Large.
Mrs. Smondrowski.
Good evening. I'm Rebecca Smondrowski, District 2.
Okay. And we have our superintendent, Dr. Smith.
Good evening, Jack Smith, Superintendent.
Okay. And we have our Deputy Superintendent, Dr. McKnight.
Good evening, everyone. Monifa McKnight, Deputy Superintendent. Good to be here.
Okay. And good evening to all the other senior staff online today. And so now we'll begin with our first speaker. The first speaker we will hear from is Catherine Contreras.
Good evening. My name is Catherine Contreras, and I go to Wooton High School. Today, I'm here to tell my story and to amplify the voices that are often ignored, the voices of students with disabilities. 2 years ago, there was an unexpected fire drill during my elective period, which happened to have students from the special education program. I exited the class with my friend who had a lack of depth perception, while a paraeducator exited the class with a student in a wheelchair. As we got out of the school building, we were faced with a steep pavement that led to the uneven grassy field. All of a sudden, I heard screams and cries from my best friend. My heart shattered. This was a terrifying sound that I will never forget. Due to his lack of depth perception, these unsteady surfaces are extremely terrifying for him. Having to walk side by side with him through these rough surfaces was one of the most difficult things I've done. I didn't want to hurt or scare him, but I also needed to get him away from the burning building. Due to the difficulty of the terrain on the wheelchair, there were 3 separate people who had to push the other student's wheelchair while I helped my other friend. This is a moment that I will never forget. This is something no student should have to ever experience. Yet for the last 50 years, students at Wooton have faced this multiple times. Why are students with disabilities still suffering through these problems? Because of MCPS's lack of compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act. This year is the 30th anniversary of the ADA, yet Wooton and a majority of other MCPS schools are still not compliant with the federal law. EMG project architects and engineers assessed 180 of MCPS's 206 schools and deemed 180 of them not compliant with the ADA. This is simply illegal. Since last November, when I first testified in front of you, I've sent you hundreds of emails and had other MCPS officials come to Wooton and promise that change will happen, yet no change has happened. You are supposed to build safe, welcoming, inclusive, and supportive environments where all children can reach their full potential as a school system. Yet, how are you creating these environments when you're consistently building and maintaining non-ADA compliant schools? How are students supposed to feel safe when they can barely exit a building during a fire simply because of the inability to make a sidewalk that is compatible with wheelchairs? These are just some of the many struggles students with disabilities face every single day in MCPS facilities. And as I may remind you, inclusion does not just pick and choose. Take your oath and mandate seriously as a board member to make Wooton and other MCPS schools accessible to the public, not just those without disabilities. Thank you for your time.
Next, we will hear from Raya Coley.
Good evening. My name is Rhea Coley, and I'm a senior at Wooton High School. Today I'm here to advocate for the rebuilding of our school, but not because of the cracked tiles, lack of toilet paper in the bathroom, or varying temperatures throughout the building. All of those reasons are small in comparison to the real reason I'm advocating today: the absence of a proper building to support our students with disabilities. The Americans with Disabilities Act was passed in 1990, a law ensuring that people with disabilities have the same rights and opportunities as people who don't have disabilities. However, when looking at the Wooton High School property, it is clear that this law is not in place. The law is being broken and nobody is doing anything about it. As someone who has the authority to make change, you have the ability to enforce this law. But this isn't just about enforcing a law. It's about creating an environment that ensures quality public education to all students and giving our students in the special education department the same resources that I have as a student. As a member of the Student Government Association, our members have testified every single year to fight for funds to go into renovating our schools, and still there is no change. Why is it that we have to fight for basic infrastructure needs while other schools have already been renovated and have received more than adequate resources? Why is it that our students with disabilities and students who are in the special education program do not have a building that is compliant with their needs and the federal law? Like I previously stated, students have been testifying since my freshman year, and I'm now a senior. 4 years have gone by and no change has happened. I've watched countless testimonies, been in attendance of the CIP hearings, and still Wooton is the exact same. How is this not a priority? Our school has 380 non-ADA compliant items, and 215 of them are priority 1 items. To clarify, priority 1 items include the most important necessities, such as accessible entrances, exits, and parking. It is strikingly evident that this is not a priority because years have gone by and Wooton has not been touched. Our school was built in 1970. It is now 2020. 50 years have passed. Today I'm asking you to please make this a priority. I'm speaking for those who don't have a voice. A federal law is being broken and it is in your hands to implement it. Thank you.
Next, we will hear from Carly Katz.
My name is Carly Katz and I'm a sophomore at Wooton High School involved in the SGA. Today I wish to speak to you about the hazardous building conditions at Wooton that make it unsafe for students and faculty to be working and learning within its walls. The Wooton building is filled with mold. It's everywhere. My personal experience with mold has led me to extensively research its harmful effects. 2 years ago, my family moved into a home that gave us headaches, shortness of breath, wheezing, and nosebleeds. Later, we learned that our illnesses were solely due to the high concentration of mold that had infiltrated our home. Armed with my new knowledge, I have become highly sensitive to mold in my environment. I thought it was so weird that when I switched schools, my friends complained about the same terrible symptoms I had from when I lived in my moldy home, especially because my friends from my prior Montgomery County school, which have recently been renovated, never complained of such symptoms. How could this just be a coincidence? I assure you it's not. Now, not only do I fear for Wooton students, but I also feel great concern for the health and safety of all our Wooton faculty. As much as I want to be back in the building with my peers and teachers, I know that being at home is benefiting my health, as I am no longer exposed to the dangerous effects of Wooton's toxic mold conditions. Sadly, the mold isn't the only harmful toxin in our school building. Last year, the girls' locker room was filled with asbestos, a toxic mineral that has proven to cause cancers and fatal diseases. If the Wooton building is old enough to harbor asbestos and mold, what other issues does it have? The worst part of asbestos and mold is that their effects can appear years afterwards, leaving no real incentive for the problem to be addressed now. Mold and other harmful substances run rampant at Wooton, but you may not realize how this affects more than just the ones who notice it. According to the CDC, Mayo Clinic, and other reputable sources, about 25% of people experience mold allergies and are subject to the physical symptoms previously mentioned. Mold can also be detrimental to the learning process as a whole. Students can experience difficulty concentrating, finding the right words, or even experience memory loss, all of which heavily impede on a child's right to a safe and public education, and one in which they have no choice but to pursue. This means that of the 2,134 students at Wheaton, over 530 of them may experience some sort of daily physical or psychological impairment until Wheaton is renovated. So I ask you, members of the board, complete this Wheaton renovation that is way past overdue. Do not keep allowing students and faculty to be subject to preventable illnesses and diseases. Do not keep allowing students and faculty to have their right to education hindered because of harmful building conditions. Do not keep allowing your Montgomery County friends and neighbors to be victims of this extreme negligence.
Next, we will hear from Lauren Povich.
Hi, my name is Lauren Povich, and I am a sophomore at Wooton High School involved in SGA. I'm testifying to tell you about the outdated and dysfunctional restrooms. One thing that I do not miss about going to school every day is having to use the disgusting bathrooms. They've been the same since when my mom went to high school, and she graduated in 1989, over 30 years ago. Just by walking into the restrooms, it is notable that the tile on the ground is falling apart, the wall corners are surrounded with bugs and mold, and the odor stench is inscrutable. The bathrooms around Wooton share most, if not all, of these qualities. However, the restrooms by the locker rooms on the basement level are in the worst condition. There was even this one day before field hockey practice where I went into the stall and felt my feet hit a puddle. I looked down to see that I was stepping in toilet water. My new Adidas were now wet and gross. I cringed as I walked out of the stall to hear my shoes squeaking on the ground. As the season and year progressed, the problem with the toilets became a daily occurrence. One of my friends would tell me about how when she flushed one of the toilets, the dirty water would squirt up at her. This is unhygienic and beyond concerning. Even after maintenance tries to fix these problems, they keep happening over and over again. I can't tell you how many times I have had to wait in long lines to use the restroom because one or more of the toilets are not working. These old and broken toilets should no longer be subject for quick fixes and need to be renovated as soon as possible. One may think the bathrooms by the locker rooms are just overly gross and unpleasant. But what they really are is a risk to the health and safety of the students, staff, and visitors. According to Rhonda Chitale, an ABC News writer, research findings from Charles Gerba suggest that toilets often contain fecal bacteria, which includes the bacterium E. coli. If a person or object is sprayed or comes in contact with toilet water, they could get infected. So this means that the leaking toilets and intensified flushing energy the Wooton bathrooms are commonly subject to can potentially increase the chance of contracting this bacteria and illness. Another problem directly rooting from the broken toilets is mold overgrowth. The Benjamin Franklin Plumbing Company states that a toilet leak on the floor can cause mold and structural damage both to the floor, under the toilet, and possibly the ceiling or foundation below. This would also explain why the bathrooms smell so bad and the tiles are uneven. It is apparent that the toilets and stalls are the root of the problem. Members of the board, I urge you to complete the renovation of the school, so that my classmates and I no longer have to dread alleviating ourselves.
Now we will hear from William Godnick.
Hello, my name is Bill Godnick, and I'm a sophomore representing Wooton High School. I'm here to advocate for infrastructure investments that I will go over through 3 concrete and urgent needs. My sister, who graduated last year, advocated for this issue 2 years in a row, and I'll continue to advocate for it since there's been no change. First, I want to highlight the urgency of improving our exterior traffic safety through a dedicated bus lane. We are the only high school in Montgomery County where buses share space with cars and pedestrians. Our main entrance area to the school is 55 feet curb to curb, of which 30 feet is taken by the buses, and on average, each car takes 18 feet of space. Can you imagine how chaotic this tight space is every morning and afternoon? Students walk into the school entrance while buses and cars are attempting to enter and leave. Furthermore, students that park their vehicles in the nearby Rockshire parking lot are forced to either walk through the main entrance for cars or through a dirt path that cuts through the grass onto the sidewalk. Ladies and gentlemen, this situation is clearly an accident waiting to happen. And if an emergency did happen, an ambulance wouldn't be able to enter and help. If this situation is insecure for the average student, imagine what it would be like for students, teachers, or staff that use wheelchairs, who already have an extra step to get by in school. Immediate action needs to be taken. Second, there's only one emergency exit from the school for the area that hosts the Wooton Special Education program. This exit empties out onto a relatively narrow strip of sidewalk above a steep hill of grass. This is an extremely precarious setup in cases of emergencies for special needs students in wheelchairs or with physical challenges. One fall or misstep in a moment of panic could injure one or more people. There are also portable classrooms nearby that empty out into the same area. This would be overwhelming for the average student, not to mention their special needs classmates, their teachers, and aides. We cannot overlook the rights to safety of all of our student body. Third, and related to the previous point, the physical infrastructure for Wooton Special Education program is in desperate need of updating. As an example, some of us have siblings. My older sister is a special education student at MCPS. She was initially assigned to Wooton as her school, but the lack of appropriate physical infrastructure and job environment was a substantial obstacle to her educational well-being and progress. So she had to move to another, more conducive environment. The special education area is almost dungeon-like, with no natural sunlight and very dull conditions, suggesting that the students receive a lower quality environment to learn in. It has been scientifically proven that lighting and color are important to brain function and learning. Additionally, the hall is quite narrow to navigate in a wheelchair against the waves of students passing by during period transitions. If you want our special education students to thrive and succeed, then we owe it to them to improve their environment. In closing, I'm not here just to represent the positions of the Wooton community as a whole, but also to highlight the voices of those who are involved in our special education program, who might not always be able to express their feelings of insecurity as directly as I am relaying it to you right now in this important hearing. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to open it up to see if board members have any questions. And I'm going to start with Mrs. Mondrosky.
Yeah, thank you. I want to, as always, thank all of our students for coming and providing testimony for us. I was just wondering if we know that Wooton is on the CIP list. If you could just speak to that a little bit. And in general, with all of our schools, the ADA compliance, I know that is something that we've talked about over the years. And I was just curious what kind of progress we're making on that.
Sure, Ms. Smodrowski, those are important parts of how the CIP is put together and how we work our way through the projects. And Associate Superintendent Essie McGuire and our Facilities Director, Seth Adams, are prepared to respond to Wooton specifically as we move toward its renovation and updating and how we handle ADA across the system.
Thank you.
So, thank you, Dr. Smith. And I'll just start briefly, and then Mr. Adams can provide more specific information about Wooton. But one of the fortunate things is that Wooton High School is, of course, in our approved funding for the major capital projects at the secondary level. And so as the board and the public recall, we certainly went through the key facility indicator assessment process and identified schools. And Wooton is one of the high schools that does remain to be addressed and is in fact accounted for in our project planning for the major capital projects. And again, we were able to maintain the funding in those projects through the council process last year. And so we look forward to doing the planning and the work for that project. So that is the good news, which again is that is on the horizon. But certainly I can let Mr. Adams speak more specifically to some of the specific work that's going on in that area and ADA in general.
So thank you for the opportunity to talk about this important topic tonight. What I would say is a few years ago, we had a historic event in which we went and hired a consultant to review every facility. And this review was in an effort to identify all levels of barriers that are involved in ADA compliance. Barriers can be everything from, widths of doorways to heights of different items within toilet rooms, as well as just basic travel paths for students. So that has actually been a really eye-opening event for us as a school district, and this is in partnership with the Department of Justice along the way. A few other things that we have done, we've created an opportunity for, whether it be students or community members to go directly to facilities management and to identify barriers that they've encountered. I would say, even though, and we have said this in the past, even though ADA may identify something as a barrier or they may not identify something as a barrier, we also want to capture those items that are impactful to the student experience as well as staff member experience. We've looked for opportunities for an ability to collect that data. I would say, in particular to Wooton, I did have an opportunity to meet with Ms. Contreras, one of the students at Wooton last year. We reviewed quite a few items. We reviewed the special education classrooms. We reviewed the processes in which students go through egress. And we had an opportunity to bring, other colleagues involved, everyone from the academic side to Todd Watkins around transportation. Many of the items that we identified in consultation with the principal, we started to work through opportunities to change process. Perfect example is where the buses stopped to pick up our special education students it was in the absolute worst possible spot, did not meet ADA compliance. So we worked with Todd to change the location as well as the process in which the students dismiss. Other areas around egress, the conversations around students at all of our schools egress on a variety of different pathways. So in the conversation around that particular item, does it make sense to move the classrooms? That is the conversation. And we have had some traction in terms of, does it make sense to move classrooms? Does it make sense to add, different accommodations within those classrooms in order to meet the intent of ADA? I would say there's quite a few items at Wooton that do meet ADA, but they make the experience and the travel paths of students difficult. So those are items we want to figure out how to fix, and we are going to fix. I would say the major milestone is obviously the major capital project at that school. That will resolve the majority of the items. But along the way, we are going to look for opportunities to potentially create a new bus loop ahead of time. That is one of the items we heard from a safety perspective. But the bus loop unto itself creates ADA challenges as well as safety challenges. So is there an opportunity to do some of that work ahead of time in preparation of that major capital project? There are other items, and I would say this about quite a few of our schools. When ADA changed some of the requirements about outdoor spaces, we do have quite a few sites that have difficulty meeting compliance around outdoor activities. Perfect example at Wooton is, you've probably heard about egress to Frost Middle School, and that is a significant slope down over a bridge and back up a slope. There's no way from a physical perspective we can meet ADA from just grade. So we have to look for other opportunities and look for opportunities to create different pathways, different egress paths. And that is the work that will happen during that major capital project, as well as when we think about our other schools, how do we incorporate this important work? So I would say there's quite a bit of energy and there's movement at Wooton in particular around their ADA concerns, around their special education concerns. And the goal is to incorporate as much as we can ahead of the major capital project in order to meet the needs of students at Wooton. But I would say this is not just a case of Wooton. This is a case we're looking at all 207 of our schools and looking for these opportunities to improve the experiences both through ADA and other accommodations.
I appreciate that. Just as a follow-up, could we get some information about a couple of years ago, a bunch of the student government folks, students had talked to us about these sleds to help students who like are in wheelchairs or handicapped get down the stairs in the case of an emergency. And I would just be interested where we are with that as a follow-up. Thank you.
Ms. Dixon.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we could have an update just in terms of the issues related to the bathrooms, mold, the leaky tiles. 2 years ago, Liam Hall, who graduated in class of 2019, invited me out, and we did a tour of the building, and he showed me everything that he thought was wrong in terms of the facility, which I shared, when I came back with the chief operating officer. But hearing the same thing again, I'm wondering, where we are, and, when school resumes again with students in the building, will, have we used this time at all to fix any of the issues related to the bathrooms, the mold and, the tiles that are water stained and so forth? Where are we on all of that?
We can certainly provide a follow-up on restroom renovations, tiles. I would like Mr. Adams to speak about our response to mold and the different kinds of mold in our world and our environment, because I think that's a pretty important piece of information to put out right now, because there is mold everywhere in our world, and there are lots of different kinds of mold, but we are very, very focused on making sure that we eliminate any sort of mold that causes any problems for health or safety. So, Mr. Adams, if you could speak about that, and we'll certainly come back with a follow-up to the board, to the question about restrooms, tiles, plumbing. We did have a major restroom initiative for the last couple of years that we've not been able to have county council fund, and so that's been a challenge for us. But we have continued to do work. Mr. Adams?
No, and thank you again. So mold is absolutely a top priority. We have an indoor air quality team that investigates every issue that is either brought to our attention through building service teams or through students or staff. What I would say around Wooton is the issues that they experienced with their ceiling tiles were related to pipe insulation. And again, pipe insulation, depending on systems, is one of those areas where we do have constant problems. And the reason being is the systems go from heating to cooling, and it does it impacts those. The overall system ends up creating opportunities for air to enter the system, and that ultimately ends up with condensation. So a lot of what you saw in those pictures was condensation from our pipes. And we have since subsequently gone in and re-insulated as many of those pipe areas as possible. Obviously tiles that had stains most were replaced, some of them not replaced. But we are obviously working towards, replacing all ceiling tiles. I would say again, though, that from a IAQ standpoint, after initiatives like that, we do go back in, we test for mold, we test for other indoor particulates, and each building, based on those reports, is given a clean bill of health. So each building has a record and has that information based on the IAQ report. So I know that Wooton has been resolved. I know that the IAQ reports come back positive. And if there are ceiling tiles that still remain stained, we certainly will replace those. But I believe my last walk through the building, most, if not 90+% of all the ceiling tiles were replaced that were impacted during those condensation leaks.
Mrs. O'Neill.
Yes, so I had two questions. One related to the restroom renovation. I know last year the board added to the restroom renovation fund. It would be helpful. I know Dr. Smith said you would do a follow-up to us. A list of schools and also specifically what was cut, because we will be hearing from other schools about similar restroom conditions. And then also on the issue of Wooton, it is in the approved or the recommended major capital projects. Is there some sort of timeline? And I know that it would be sort of probably a phased renovation. And it seems to me, since I've been on the board, we also did a major addition to Wooton and added a new media center. That was, early on in my tenure. But were there any bathrooms added then in that major addition? But also just overall, like if all the funding marks hit, when are we looking at the major capital project for Wooton?
Mr. Adams or Ms. McGuire, can you give the dates? I don't want to do that from memory, and I don't have it in front of me.
And I'll let Ms. Carmias from Capital Budget chime in as well from just a design start to construction start. But I would say just from a bathroom and an infrastructure standpoint, there are issues when there's infrastructure issues, meaning there's issues that piping needs to be replaced, or if there's a leak of some sort, we go in and fix the leak. It doesn't necessarily always translate into a full restroom renovation. As Dr. Smith did mention, the restroom renovation is part of the Summit program that was reduced in funding. So there are real impacts there. And the priorities from the restroom perspective have transitioned from I would say a cosmetic to more of a functional piece. We did complete quite a few restroom renovations that ultimately also resolved ADA compliance. Again, a lot of these worlds connecting and obviously trying to solve multiple problems with individual projects, but we can absolutely report back on what those funding implications cause. But Adrienne, could you just comment a bit on the project schedule, please?
Sure. So the completion date for the Wooton High School Major Capital Project is September 2027. So that's FY28. Planning is scheduled to start in FY24. So it's two and a half fiscal years from now, because we're now looking at approving FY22 in the springtime.
Okay, thank you. Next, we will hear from Ms. Silvestre.
Thank you. That was pretty much my question. The students, I wanted to give them some concrete dates for the major capital project. And because they're only there for 4 years, I wanted them to know that the big changes are coming. And I appreciate Mr. Adams sharing some of the things that have been taken care of already. One thing that I didn't hear, you said that the bus loop would be remedied before the major project. When do you think that can happen?
Well, so again, we don't have specific funding for the bus loop, but I would say that is something that we're going to advocate in a future CIP. We did conduct a feasibility study several years ago in terms of how you can fix this site from a traffic and transportation perspective, and we have multiple options that we can pursue. So I believe from our perspective, we would like to either through our Safe Access to Schools program or look for an ability to potentially accelerate some funding around Wooton, be able to accommodate that critical safety measure. So while it's not in the CIP as it stands as an independent project, we would look to for an opportunity to bring that back to the board in a future CIP.
And if I heard you correctly, you said that the wheelchair issue that Ms. Contreras brought up was remedied just with a process change, not a physical change. Is that correct?
Well, so when we talked through the process, it was right before the shutdown from COVID. So we haven't actually been able to implement some of the processes. But when we go back, absolutely, these processes will be in place to avoid these. And again, we are also investigating opportunities to relocate some of those classrooms to make it more convenient and more accessible to other parts of the building as well.
Thank you. I also wanted to thank our students for their advocacy on these issues.
Mr. Asante.
Yeah, I have no questions, but I would like to thank our students for their advocacy as well as for inserting those videos and photos within their testimony. That was really helpful to visualize what they were talking about.
Vice President Wolf.
I too have no questions. I think everything has been asked and answered. I'd be interested in hearing about the process changes in the future if we ever return to the buildings, which I'm sure we will. Thank you. And thank you for your advocacy to all of the students, because I know it's not easy to come before the board.
DACA.
Yeah, I want to thank the students. They presented this very clearly and eloquently, and I am quite familiar with the ADA issues on entering that building, the sidewalks, the entrance to the cafeteria, which is down a hill. So I appreciate them pointing that out, and I know that we sincerely would like to work on those things, and I hope we will. And I don't know about the bathrooms, but the description of the plumbing is very concerning, and I hope that we can get on to that right away.
Okay. We have a few more students that we're going to hear from in just a moment. So that concludes board member questions. And so now we'll go back to hearing the testimony. Next, we will hear from Vivek Majumdar.
Good evening. My name is Vivek Majumdar. I think that it's safe for me to make the assumption that the majority of the members of the Board of Education watching my testimony tonight believe in the arguably fundamental right of a student to receive a free, public, and safe education. However, certain circumstances within my very own high school, Wooton, fall well below such standards. To date, 380 non-ADA compliant items have been identified on my school premises, 215 of them categorized as priority 1. This means that a multitude of essential access points, such as entrances and parking spaces, do not fall within ADA guidelines. The American with Disabilities Act is a civil rights law passed 3 decades ago. Wooton was last renovated nearly 50 years ago. Not only is this an insult to my fellow peers who are disabled, it is discriminatory to them in the highest degree. From not being able to safely access portions of the school, to not having the appropriate equipment to move within the school building, not having these resources hinders these boys and girls from reaching their full potential simply due to their disabilities. My peers deserve to be able to use and make the most of the same facilities and attend the same venues as I do, with absolutely no regard to their race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, and disability. At the end of the day, how are students supposed to feel included in a school building that is not built to include them? Not allowing a student the right to have a safe and sufficient learning environment, and therefore an unjustly incomplete education, is perhaps the greatest disservice that you can do to a student. A disservice that I personally find outrageous, has taken 30 years to resolve. I'm forever grateful for this opportunity in which I can voice my concerns in a forum where I can rest assured it will be heard. I have a lot of respect for all of you who are listening, and I can only hope you can reciprocate that respect for my disabled peers as well. Thank you for your time.
Next, we will hear from Maya Gottsman.
Whenever you think of the feature that stands out to you when you first drive into a school, it is the track and the turf of that school. It is the site of so many memories, including football games, soccer games, pep rallies, and walking the track during class. Sadly, these games and bright lights aren't able to be enjoyed by all because they aren't compliant for the whole student body. The students of Wooton who need these ADA compliant features aren't able to enjoy the track as much as the other students. The Wooton track is not accessible for all, thus it being unequal for all students who attend Wooton. To start, first, I would like to discuss getting to the track itself. The path from the school to the track has cracks and is steep, which is an uncomfortable feeling for students who have hyperactive sensory input. If a student has more difficulty with walking, the cracks along the sidewalk cause many tripping hazards, and no one deserves to trip and fall walking to the track. Wheelchairs also have much trouble getting to the track. Besides being a tripping hazard,
Students who use a wheelchair are unable to make it to the track because it is hard to roll a wheelchair along the trail too. Now, when the students are at the track and have to use the restroom, the bathroom route is not accessible. That makes it harder for students to use the bathroom, which is just not right. In order to get to the bathroom itself, students have to walk up a ramp that has no handrails and is steep, which makes an uncomfortable situation even more difficult. As a runner myself, during the school year, the track becomes like my second home. I see way too often students having unnecessary difficulties walking to the track, around the track, and using the bathroom because it does not fit ADA guidelines. Imagine this scenario. On a nice day at school in gym class, the teacher tells your class to go down to the track to walk it. On your way there, the uneven cracks of the path make you uncomfortable and uneasy. After overcoming the challenge of getting to the track, you get there and you have to use the restroom. You walk over to the steep ramp, but before you is another challenge. You have to walk up a steep hill and face no railings to help you get up. Getting to the track was hard in itself, but now going to the bathroom is a challenge too. Thank you for imagining this scenario, but for some members of the Wooton student body, this scenario is not imaginary. This is every time you want to walk to the track to get some exercise. The Wooton track has to be ADA compliant, so all students of Wooton have the ability to enjoy the track and all the memories that occur with it and at the track. No one can fully enjoy the track unless everybody can enjoy the track.
Thank you to all our students who spoke today. Now we will go to our clusters. First, we will hear from Michelle Mahler from the Northwood High School cluster.
Hello, my name is Michelle Mahler, and I am testifying on behalf of the Northwood cluster. We understand that MCPS and our county as a whole are living through precarious times that will reduce the amount of funding available for improving and expanding our buildings. Our main focus right now will be on making our buildings safe and healthy environments for our students and staff's eventual return. We know that the CIP projects will be amended and delayed, but we are requesting that the following projects continue to move forward for the health, safety, and academic success of our school communities. HVAC is an overarching concern for many of our schools. I have testified about temperature and ventilation concerns at Arcola, Kemp Mill, Glen Haven, Sligo, Silver Spring International, and Northwood for the past 6 years. Mold and dampness have been a particular concern at Sligo Creek and Sims. Given the airborne spread of the current pandemic, having functional HVAC systems is an absolute necessity. The Northwood and Woodward renovation projects must remain on schedule. Northwood recently had 2 more portables installed for a grand total of 12 portables. The last 2 portables were constructed on the outdoor basketball court, which was used by students to play games and as a practice area for our award-winning drumline. We have no more room for portables unless we begin taking over the tennis courts or the fields, thereby losing more amenities in a school that has very few to begin with. The main building cannot handle any more students with its small hallways and crumbling infrastructure. Work on Northwood's HVAC system was started earlier this year, then was abruptly stopped. This work needs to be completed before students can safely return to the building. We understand that there is neighborhood opposition to the current plan for sports facilities at Woodward. If plans are changed at this late stage, it is very likely there will be no practice fields available for Northwood students for the entire 2 years they are in the holding school, plus an additional year once we move back into Northwood. How is it that a few neighbors in the Woodward area get to control our students' access to high-quality activities? Our students, who are primarily students of color and or lower income, will be dislodged from their community for 2 years with no easy access by public transportation to Woodward and potentially no sports fields? This is an equity issue that needs to be considered, especially given the conversations around the Black and Brown Coalition report this year. Northwood must have a place to practice and play sports while at the holding school at Woodward. The work stoppage on the Purple Line has left the main entrance and parking lot for Sims and Sligo Creek a mess, with temporary fencing and unfinished construction and landscaping. Now we learn that the long-awaited addition to Sims will be slashed, leaving our middle school students without necessary improvements. What will go? The indoor gym? the stage for school performances, the updated science classrooms, the ADA compliant entrances. We must keep moving forward to bring students back into the building with an indoor gym, performance space, up-to-date science classrooms, and ADA compliant and secure entrances. We are asking for Sims to be brought up to a minimum standard for a middle school. Air quality continues to be an issue at Sims, with an antiquated patchwork of systems and mold problems on the lower level of the building. In order to safely return students to the building, this issue must be finally and conclusively addressed. Any construction at Sims will inevitably affect Sligo Creek, and there has been no communication with either community about this major change to the construction plan. An email on Friday afternoon about a meeting later that afternoon is not sufficient notice to the community for such an impactful change. Both communities are also not confident in MCPS's projections that the student population will fall in the coming years. New construction and the growing popularity of this area of Silver Spring with younger families seems to belie these predictions. It would be unfortunate to go through a renovation and discover that the school is still overcrowded. Highland View needs and has needed for at least 10 years an addition to deal with overcapacity. We appreciate that funding will finally go towards building an addition to bring all students inside the building, but we are dismayed that funding is being sacrificed from the Sims renovation project to do it. Both buildings need projects to address their serious issues, but we cannot shortchange one project in order to fund another. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening to my testimony today about Northwood Cluster Schools.
Great. So next we will hear from Christy Daphnis. She's from the Einstein High School Cluster.
My name is Christy Daphnis, and I'm testifying on behalf of the Einstein High School Cluster within the Down County Consortium. I'm currently one of the cluster coordinators for Einstein and also a parent of a 6th grader at Newport Mill Middle School and a 2nd grader at Highland Elementary School. First, I would like to thank MCPS for recommending acceleration of construction funding for Woodland Elementary School, South Lake Elementary School, and Stonegate Elementary School, all projected for completion now in 2023. While South Lake is not in our cluster, I must mention the urgency of this project as highlighted in recent media accounts. All children deserve a safe space to learn, free of rodents and other environmental concerns. Woodland is also in need of renovation to address overcrowding and building issues. Woodland was built in 1944 and has not been renovated since 1975. This leaves it long overdue for updates. We urge you to adopt the recommendation to accelerate Woodland Elementary School's construction funding to allow a path forward towards project completion in 2023. Second, I would like to underscore the need for continued HVAC improvements across the county. The current recommendation of $5 million seems to primarily address the county-wide refresh as previously conceived. This is likely not enough money to meet needs, given what we know about COVID-19 and the importance of adequate ventilation, airflow, and air filtering. We urge you to increase the amount dedicated to HVAC improvements across the county. We also believe that MCPS and the Board of Education should take a more comprehensive look at HVAC systems countywide under this new lens of COVID-19. MCPS should do an analysis of all HVAC systems and airflow ventilation throughout all of our school buildings and make any necessary improvements. Ventilation and airflow are very important factors involved in getting our children back into the classroom safely once our community incidence and transmission levels meet county guidelines. We recognize that adequately addressing these issues would likely add an additional cost to those projects in the pipeline, as well as additional modifications to HVAC systems throughout MCPS, including on systems that have just been renovated, like those at elementary schools such as Highland. However, these additional costs are necessary, as it is imperative that we give a high priority and attention to designing and installing new systems and retrofitting existing systems in a manner that helps reduce the spread of the virus. In particular, we ask you to prioritize the analysis of HVAC systems, ventilation, and airflow at Highland Elementary, Glen Haven Elementary, Newport Mill Middle School, and Einstein High School. These schools are either located in or draw significant populations from the zip code 20902. As shown in Montgomery County data as submitted within my written testimony, the 20902 zip code has the second highest cumulative case count in Montgomery County and the second highest cumulative case count per 100,000 residents in Montgomery County. These high levels of COVID infection have been consistent in 20902 since the inception of the disease. 20902 is also home to some of our most vulnerable populations, including children facing poverty, food insecurity, and other challenges. Highland Elementary School's population is over 80% minority students, with a farms rate of over 75% and an ESOL population of nearly 50%. Glen Haven is similarly situated with over 55% farms and over 35% ESOL. These numbers do not even take into account any recent job loss and reduced income levels as a result of the disease. On top of these socioeconomic challenges, these children and their families have been hardest hit by the health effects of COVID. In addition, as noted in the summer CIP meetings with MCPS, Glen Haven lacks any sort of ventilation in its gymnasium. As we look at opening schools for services like learning equity hubs and childcare, these rooms may need to be used to provide capacity and to meet COVID-19 planning guidelines set forth by the state. Simply put, all factors considered, this virus has been disproportionately devastating for many families in Wheaton and in 20902. We need to take strides to provide a safe and equitable learning environment for our Wheaton community to help overcome and compensate for the impacts of the virus. Thank you very much for considering my testimony and our request.
Now we will hear from Nell Rumbaugh from the Wheaton High School cluster.
Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Smith, President Evans, distinguished members of the board, and MCPS administrative staff. It's an honor to submit this testimonial recording on behalf of the Wheaton community. My name is Nell Rumbaugh. I am serving as an acting cluster coordinator in Wheaton. I live in Rockville, and I have a daughter who attends Veers Mill Elementary School. To start, I'd like to express our gratitude for your visit to Parkland Magnet Middle School this past spring. On March 3rd, we convened at Parkland Middle School, and you answered our community questions for about 2 hours. We found this very valuable, and if you do recall, we started that evening off with some lovely music by the children's choir from Veers Mill Elementary School and a clarinetist and the honor guard from Kennedy High School. It was a terrific evening, and we are very grateful. Which brings me to our top request from you for this CIP. We really want to have the Parkland Magnet Middle School stay on schedule for its slated expansion as per prior CIP. The students need more room to learn. The teachers need more room to teach. This is an aerospace technology school, and things aerospace tend to take up space. The enrollment is actually at 1,100, but the capacity of the building is at 938. So we'd really like to make use of this time, and we'd like to underscore our desire to have those construction projects move forward without any further delay. So that's our request, and that's our top request. As far as the other schools in our cluster, we have Veers Mill Elementary School is very grateful to have their security vestibule. Loiterman, of course, is very enthusiastic about their standalone auditorium. And Wheaton High School is very grateful for their building, their build out. All they request is that they have the softball fields finished. Wouldn't it be great if they were finished by the spring? All is well with the rest of the schools in our cluster. I'd like to just express my gratitude to the teachers that I see at Veers Mill. I'm sure they're everywhere around the county, who are doing such a tremendous job teaching over Zoom during these very difficult times for all of us. There are some extraordinary folks out there doing some extraordinary things, and we are very grateful, and mostly we wish you health and wellness and patience and all things good. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Bye.
Thank you to all the speakers that we've heard from during this portion of our public hearings. Now we will stop for board member comments, and I'm going to start with Dr. Daca.
Thank you. I don't know, just listening to the things that the students just have said and the adults now, it just breaks our hearts. Believe me, we are very concerned about some of these items, and I know that our facilities staff is really going to try to work on these things. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you. Vice President Wolf.
I too want to thank everyone for their testimony so far. I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Asante.
No questions from me either, but I would like to thank everyone who testified.
Ms. Silvestre.
Yeah, I just wanted to understand this Friday afternoon email and subsequent meeting about the changes to the SSI project that Ms. Moeller brought to our attention. I know we have been advocating as a board to have rigorous community engagement along with all of these changes. So I just wanted to better understand what happened there.
Sure. So I think this particular example is really one of sort of a we're always a little bit caught between notifying the public and notifying the board and having those conversations be close together. So that really was this particular example. As you said, Mrs. Silvestre, we certainly have been working to have ongoing conversations with our communities in the development of the CIP and the recommendations. Often, again, there is that process piece of bringing recommendations to the board. And we do try to reach out to communities so that they hear it from us first. But again, from a time perspective, that process is one that brings us here as the starting point. And then the process does continue from here in terms of the public hearings and in terms of subsequent board actions. And then, of course, through the rest of the budget processes. Through those processes, we will continue to have those conversations with the community. But really, our first attempt there was to have an outreach point so that, again, folks could hear something from us in person as opposed to at the table or in writing. But understanding that from a time perspective, again, we did need to share that information with the board.
Thank you. Mrs. O'Neill.
Yes. So the issue of heating and air conditioning and ventilation systems is weighing heavily on everybody's minds in the COVID world because of thinking about coming back. I know the board did a supplemental request in August, and we have commenced work on filters, et cetera. But it is overall a major problem in our CIP too, as well. Because of cuts that we've had year after year in the capital budget on heating and air conditioning. And I don't know whether you want to sort of speak to the efforts that we are doing, what we are contemplating doing, and the serious nature of the reductions, say, for the past 3 years. I think it needs to be spelled out to the public because we have asked, but we haven't been funded. And then here we are now in this COVID world. It is one that weighs heavily across the district on our staff's minds and our parents' minds. So it's sort of, now and in the budget.
Ms. O'Neill, that is an extremely good point, because it is an area where each year it has been a challenge. This past year, money was reduced before the final budget was passed at the county council from the HVAC system updating and renovation, and simultaneously everything has been shifting around the health pandemic and getting schools ready to bring students back in. So one thing we would want to clear up would just be the amount of money that is in the CIP around this work, as well as the supplemental budget request that we have in front of the county council right now. We will be walking through this at some length on Friday when we start talking about the effort, Friday of this week, November 6th, when we start talking about the effort to reopen schools. But I would ask Mr. Adams and his team if they can share any light on those issues that I was just outlining. Mr. Adams?
Sure. So I would say there's definitely a correlation between the HVAC replacement work that we have been aggressively trying to pursue, and that of what we are the work that we're performing in order to safely return. One of the striking facts is that the HVAC replacement budget was cut close to a little over 35% this year for fiscal year 21. So part of the initiatives to go back to the council to look for additional money is obviously to offset some of those cuts. But I would say it's very much focused in areas of indoor air quality. It's focused in areas of filtration within each classroom. We are working through an assessment of every building for the ability to increase the filtration efficiencies. We actually do have quite a few buildings with robust ventilation units that we are modifying in order to increase ventilation to standards that are set by industry experts. So I do feel when we're moving towards this HVAC readiness, we will be ready. I can say that we will be ready. As a mechanical engineer with kids in MCPS, I can vouch that we will have every classroom ready for students to come back and for staff to come back, and they will be safe. But it will be key to partner with the county. It will be key for funding in order to do this work around filtration and ventilation and cleaning. Cleaning is a big part of the ventilation and HVAC systems that will be taking place. So we will outline more of this in greater detail on Friday. But I do want to say that the balance of replacements with that of the work that we're doing with filtration is something we definitely have to continue working with the county on from a funding perspective as well as a work perspective.
I just would ask, I appreciate that, and I know that we will have a more in-depth conversation, but if we had a 35% reduction this year, and we have had that similar reductions, like almost every year for the past 5 years, I would say, could we have a chart of what our request was and what was funded like the last 5 years? Because it really has caught up with us, and it's something that can't wait anymore.
Yes, we can definitely provide the board with a chart of the CIP funding in each of the areas over the last 5 years. And we'll post that along with the other information for this meeting tonight.
Thank you. So now we will go to Ms. Dixon.
I just want to say thank you to everyone who testified this evening, and I don't have any questions at this time.
Thank you. Mrs. Smondrowski.
So yeah, I think my questions were pretty much answered. I was going to ask about the last minute meeting for SSI and about the work being done to prepare for return to schools. So I very much appreciate everyone testifying and bringing up these issues for us to address. So thank you.
Okay, thank you all. So at this time, we'll go back to the testimonies with from the clusters, and we will start back with Kathy Fusto. She's from the Seneca Valley High School cluster.
Good evening, Board of Education members, Superintendent Smith, and MCPS staff. I'm Kathy Fusto, testifying on behalf of the Seneca Valley Cluster. Following Kevin David and Melissa Regan, I bring you testimony from the Screaming Eagle schools. Thank you for the opportunity to advocate for the Capital Improvement Program. Seneca Valley was the last MCP school in its original footprint. That era has not only ended, but has gone out with a bang. This flagship facility will usher the Up-County into the next generation. Cutting-edge CTE programming, technology at every turn, full IB, including the career program, relieving 2 overcapacity neighbors, and significantly expanding access to twice as many students. Edison now has a partner in the Up-County, and we are thrilled to open these doors when we can. Thank you to the Board of Education, MCPS staff, especially the Planning Department, Mosley Architects, Dustin Construction, and the many years of parent advocacy, including Sarah Huston Kessler, Northwest Cluster Coordinator. New to the Seneca Valley Cluster is Split Articulation Neilsville Middle School. Neilsville is a replacement major capital project. It's time for the ramp, the narrow hallways, and the lower level basement cafeteria to go. Perhaps these features were trendy in 1981, but it's incredibly dysfunctional for students. It's like the architects had an opposite day. Please keep this project funded and on track, especially for an Up-County community that can be underrepresented in surveys. Lake Seneca, our little dollhouse of a school, has had a dip in enrollment. As you know, grades 3, 4, and 5 have all been out in portables for many years. We would like to include Lake Seneca on a watch list to see what happens with enrollment, to see if the phase following design is warranted, or build the addition and then alleviate overcrowding in nearby Ronald McNair from our neighbor cluster. In all of our schools, HVAC and indoor air quality is always important, yet seemingly functioning at various levels. Now, more than ever, we need a county-wide system that performs at optimal levels. No one wants airborne illnesses spreading through ventilation. The MCPS website has a frequently asked questions page with a 74-page report from the Indoor Air Quality Process Action Team with 50 recommendations. From March 4th, 1998. Let's consider an update, shall we? Now is a great time to install a new air quality evaluation process with minimums for every school and a way to prioritize needed service. Besides the actual buildings, the Seneca Valley community joins the Albert Einstein community in advocating for extending capital improvement program thinking to the areas that students walk to and from school. While MCPS is certainly not responsible for roads, intersections, and crosswalks, we ask that you join the Safe Routes to Schools group that is trying to get safety features in place. In a school zone, doesn't it make sense to have lower speed limits? A signal at a main intersection where all the students cross? Flashing lights as you approach the school area? Please join us in advocating. Yes, we parents are asking the school system to join us as we demand that MCDOT and MDSHA prioritize students over cars in school areas. Makes sense. Thank you for doing what you can in these incredibly trying times. Each community wants the best buildings as possible because students deserve that. Thank you.
Next, we will hear from Alan Jung. He's from the Clarksburg High School cluster.
Hello, my name is Alan Jung, and I am a Clarksburg Cluster Coordinator. I will be providing testimony today on the CIP. First, I'd like to discuss Clarksburg Elementary number 9, and I'd like to begin with a quick tour of some familiar sites in Clarksburg. One familiar site is construction, such as Cabin Branch, with 340 homes remaining to be built. Dowden Station, 105 homes remaining to be built, and Clarksburg Square, 98 more homes to be built. Another familiar site is development notices, such as Linthicum West, 253 homes, Creekside, 328 homes, Ashford Woods, 364 homes, and several smaller scale developments. In the Clarksburg Elementary service area, approximately 1,500 new homes are being built within a few years. Finally, one last familiar site, Clarksburg Elementary School. Clarksburg Elementary, designed for just 311 students, currently has 692 students, is at 222% of capacity, and still growing. We all know the challenges of an overcrowded school. Students eat lunch until 2:25 p.m. and navigate 12 portables. While other schools may be overcrowded, are any other elementary schools at 222% of capacity? The most urgent reason to keep Clarksburg Elementary number 9 on schedule is Clarksburg Elementary continues to grow much faster than MCPS Planning's own forecasts. In 2016, enrollment at Clarksburg Elementary was forecasted to increase by 154 students by 2020. Enrollment actually increased by 352 students, 2.25 times higher. In 2019, enrollment at Clarksburg Elementary was forecasted to increase by just 16 students this year. Enrollment actually increased by 69 students, 4 times more. And without COVID, it would have been even higher. The projections in the CIP Master Plan show no forecasted growth at Clarksburg Elementary between 2020 and 2021, and just a 3.8% annualized growth from 2020 to 2023. But Clarksburg Elementary has never had less than 10% annualized growth since 2015, and there is no slowdown in houses being built. If past trends remain true, Clarksburg Elementary could have over 900 students by the 2023 school year, approach 300% of capacity, and require 19 portables if Clarksburg Elementary number 9 is not built. The fact that Clarksburg Elementary has grown so quickly is no surprise to anybody living in Clarksburg. While enrollment skyrocketed, Clarksburg Elementary number 9 was delayed twice. This year, we asked the board to stand firm and ensure Clarksburg Elementary number 9 is not delayed and built for a 2023 opening. Second, I'd like to briefly discuss HVAC, roofing, and PLR line items, with particular emphasis on HVAC. These programs ensure major building systems are regularly replaced to ensure a safe and healthy building for our students. In the 2021 CIP, Clarksburg Elementary was slated for HVAC system replacement. However, since the HVAC line was not fully funded, it is possible HVAC replacement at Clarksburg will be delayed, at a time when adequate HVAC systems are more critical than ever. Rocky Hill Middle School also reports chronic HVAC issues. We appreciate the board's efforts to reinstate funding for HVAC projects. However, maintaining full funding of HVAC, roofing, and PLR CIP items going forward will help to ensure school buildings are ready and safe for our students when needed the most. Finally, I'd like to briefly discuss Neilsville Middle School. Last year, as a cluster, we committed to supporting a new Neilsville Middle School. Although the boundaries have now shifted and Neilsville no longer feeds into the Clarksburg cluster, the problems at Neilsville still remain. No child should attend school at the prison on the hill. Please keep the Neilsville Middle School project on schedule. Thank you for your time and for your consideration of our cluster's needs.
Thank you. Next, we will hear from Sarah Cortez from the Walter Johnson High School Cluster.
President Evans, members of the board, and Dr. Smith. I am Sarah Cortez, testifying on behalf of the Walter Johnson Cluster. As I was preparing these remarks, I thought back to the many hours I've spent over the years in the Carver Educational Services Center auditorium. While I might not miss the folding chairs and the late end times of those hearings, I am nostalgic for many parts of those days. Holding my green sign, that of course matched my green dress, seeing the enthusiasm of a group coming out to support a cause that meant so much to them, being blown away by a student who was moved to tell his or her story, and learning so much about the schools all over the county. Thinking back to these days makes me and my fellow cluster representatives so aware of the needs of our community, the Montgomery County community. For this reason, while I am going to spend some time speaking about our cluster, we also plan to discuss the needs of our friends in the Northwood cluster and the needs of the county as a whole. We want to start by offering our support and gratitude to MCPS and the Division of Capital Planning for the hard work and community engagement that has occurred in the planned reopening of Woodward High School. This has been a complex task, with 2 phases of construction, a period as a holding school, and multiple constituents. MCPS has risen to meet this challenge. First, MCPS staff have made a concerted effort to include various high school clusters in the planning process. We are excited to partner and support MCPS in planning for a high school that is cutting edge and diverse, including a comprehensive high school curriculum as well as specialty programs. Second, MCPS has worked hard to meet the multiple needs of various constituents. For example, MCPS initially planned an exit road that could be accessed from Edson Lane. After much discussion with the surrounding community associations, MCPS heard the neighbors' requests and eliminated that road. Now, if Woodward is to meet the needs of all students, it is vital that Phase 2 construction continue to include the elements of a comprehensive high school. This means including the same facilities as every other comprehensive high school in MCPS: an auditorium, a second gym, and yes, a stadium. We understand some neighbors on the north side of the property oppose the current stadium plan, but this site was and is a school site. It currently has a stadium. And it needs a stadium in the future for equity and for all student athletes. This isn't just about football. This is about boys and girls soccer, field hockey, lacrosse, and track and field. It's about the cheerleaders and the pom-poms, the marching bands, the flag twirlers, and the majorettes. It's about community. As students and families come together from WJ and the DCC, a stadium will help provide a new sense of community for us as one Woodward. The WGA cluster reiterates our support for Woodward to be used as a holding facility for Northwood High School during their renovation. We value the partnership developing between our communities as we work toward this common goal. We look forward to more collaboration. Specifically, we support Northwood's request to assure that their students are provided the most equitable experience possible during their 2 years that they are in Woodward facility, particularly given the distance of the site from the Northwood community. We now want to shift to the MCPS community as a whole and show our support of the MCC PTA CIP priorities, most specifically the HVAC needs of many schools. COVID has brought this issue to the forefront. We therefore support the superintendent's recommendation to amend the CIP in order to restore funds for HVAC renovation, as well as other important projects such as roof repair and asset replacement. Finally, we recognize the challenges facing MCPS and the difficult job you will have as fiscal belts tighten, even while the student population continues to grow. First, we appreciate the superintendent's recent statement that notwithstanding the temporary dip in enrollment due to COVID, the county's capacity projects must remain on their approved schedules. We agree that the MCPS student population will continue to increase, particularly with the continued development of Montgomery County. And regarding this development, we will continue to advocate for a balanced growth policy in Montgomery County, which provides sufficient funding for schools. And we encourage the board to do the same as the County Council finishes its deliberations on the new county growth policy. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. In particular, we realize this will be the last time WJ testifies on the CIP before Ms. Dixon. Ms. Dixon, we are grateful for your service, responsiveness, and support during your term. While we cannot come physically together as a community right now, the Walter Johnson Cluster is proud to participate in the investment in this community for its future. Thanks so much.
Thank you. And so now we will hear from Megan Algio. She's from the Rockville cluster.
Good evening. My name is Megan Algio, and I'm the proud mother of 3 MCPS students in 4th grade, 2nd grade, and pre-K, and the PTA president at Meadow Hall Elementary School. I am very honored and excited to be presenting on behalf of our Rockville cluster this evening. We want to begin by sharing our appreciation and saying thank you for the improvement projects that have already been completed at our schools. We are overjoyed and extremely grateful for the current work at Rockville High School creating a much-needed security entrance, the addition made to Barnsley Elementary School, and for the beautiful new Maryvale Elementary School building. After partnering with our cluster coordinator, school principals, and PTAs, I am here tonight to present and advocate for the requests submitted from our cluster to be added to the CIP plan. On behalf of our entire Rockville cluster, we ask that MCPS continue to prepare for a safe return to our school buildings in the COVID-19 environment, providing additional space, supplies, and equipment. In addition, I would like to present the specific requests submitted on behalf of Earl B. Wood Middle School and Meadow Hall Elementary School. Earl B. Wood Middle School shares that there is a mold problem in parts of their building and rooms with poor ventilation. They need improved airflow and clean air moving through the building. At several of the doors to their interior courtyards, they get rainwater coming in and flooding their hallway. Many staff members have slipped and fallen on the water, so they need that fixed. They have requested a new sound system, an auditorium because their entire school cannot currently meet in one location, resources to convert their 3 courtyards into usable classrooms, swipe cards on all staff entry doors. Both parking lots included the basement, entry, and back hallway and elevators, an upgraded staff lounge with a dedicated phone room and multiple industrial microwaves and portable classrooms. Meadow Hall Elementary School is requesting a much-needed addition to our physical building. In the master plans, Meadow Hall does not look like a school that is in need or meets the requirements for an addition. However, given our school hosts the autism program and is a focus school, the master plan numbers don't tell the whole story. Our school has exceeded our building's capacity for numerous years, with 3 student generations spending 2 to 3 years worth of their time at Meadow Hall in our portables. Meadow Hall's average enrollment over the last 15 plus years has ranged between 410 to 460 students. During these years, our school has continuously been adding portables as a solution to exceeding the actual building capacity, resulting in the 7 total portables our school currently has. In fact, the number of portables has more than tripled in the last decade, and nearly 1/3 of our school's population is housed in a portable classroom. Meadow Hall has 2 major programs located at our school that affect the use, enrollment, and overall capacity of the building. Meadow Hall is a focus school and home to one of the county's elementary school autism programs, which both directly impact class sizes and classroom use. As of this school year, Meadow Hall has 5 autism classrooms with 6 students in each class, totaling 30 students. A general education classroom at Meadow Hall has between 18 to 26 students, meaning that 5 classrooms could typically hold anywhere between 90 to 130 students. Those 5 classrooms that currently hold 30 students seem to be currently reflected as general education classrooms in the existing capacity numbers. This is showing a difference of 60 to 100 students, which would bring our capacity down from 375 to somewhere between 275 to 315. This is a huge discrepancy in how MCPS views our building capacity versus the reality of how our building is used to provide educational services. The second program at Meadow Hall that affects the building's capacity is our focus school designation. Meadow Hall's staffing and the number of classroom sections we have are based off of smaller class sizes, which also directly impacts how many classrooms are used in our building. Based on Meadow Hall's current and last year's enrollment, our building is being filled to capacity every year, resulting in the use of at least 6 full classroom portables with up to 120 to 150 students outside dating back to 2016. In fact, every 3rd and 5th grade general education student at Meadow Hall is currently in a portable. The increase of the number of portables over time shows the discrepancies in Meadow Hall's capacity number not reflecting our classroom usage. This is one, if not the most important data point that is considered when schools are being evaluated for an addition. This number should be reflected accurately in our capacity calculations when classrooms are not being used at full capacity due to the school's support of MCPS educational programs. We are currently using every inch of our building. We have supporting rooms that have been combined for multiple purposes and staff using any available space, even storage closets, as small group support rooms due to the need for additional instructional space. We also ask that you consider adding 1 pre-K classroom to our school as part of this addition. We have many kindergarten students that have attended the MCPS pre-K program at other elementary schools. We believe that having the pre-K program included in our addition plans would be a benefit to our community. Based on the facilities assessment, our building is in good conditions, and we are not asking for a new one. However, we do need more space in our existing building. We're requesting that an addition be added to the CIP plan for Meadow Hall. We ask that you review the enrollment data provided, the programs we host at our school, and how we are using our building to help support this request. Thank you so much for your consideration of our request from the Rockville cluster. We appreciate your time, energy, hard work, and dedication your leadership provides to improving our schools. Have a great night.
Next, we will hear from Amy Ackerberg Hastings. She's from the Richard Montgomery High School cluster.
Good evening, President Evans and the Board of Education, Dr. Smith, and MCPS staff. My name is Amy Ackerberg Hastings, and I serve MCCPTA as one of the Richard Montgomery cluster coordinators. I would like to express appreciation from our cluster, deliver some specific physical plant requests, and raise some considerations that appear to affect not just us, but all of MCPS as we navigate the ongoing pandemic. First, thank you for the replacement of the gym lights and blacktop at Bell Elementary and the installation of 2 portables at Twinbrook Elementary, which will provide needed space for various forms of special instruction. We appreciate program reallocations that freed up needed classroom space at Bayard Rustin Elementary. We are particularly delighted that the HVAC replacement at Twinbrook was completed a year ahead of schedule, a silver lining of distance learning, as Principal Devan put it. MCPS's overall experience with HVAC suggests it is not a given that the system will operate properly when it is put into use, but our fingers are crossed. Indeed, we are also grateful for the complete rewiring of the system at College Gardens Elementary, which has yet to work correctly since the school's renovation in 2008. But here too, we have some trepidation as we wait for teachers and students to return to the building and put the system to the test. We continue to look forward to the anticipated 2026 completion of Crown High School, which will help alleviate the projected ever-increasing overcrowding at Richard Montgomery. Tonight, we also have a few requests for capital improvement that are specific to our schools. First, especially urgent, is the installation of a fence around the perimeter of the nearly new turf fields at Julius West Middle School. In brief, users without permits are creating safety and public health concerns. Julius West also asks for installation of an additional storage unit or shed for the storage of PE equipment, such as bicycles. Third, ADA compliance issues persist, particularly with the wheelchair lifts at Bell and Twinbrook. Fourth, in his report from Richard Montgomery, Principal Monteleone noted the constant work on our HVAC system that still has not been completely resolved. We ask that maintenance staff continue to follow up on this. That request brings us back to one of the pandemic mitigation themes that I know you will be hearing throughout these hearings: the role of HVAC systems in protecting all of our stakeholders from a disease that appears to often be spread through aerosols. We ask that the system in each school be evaluated before students return, and that the most recent COVID-19 recommendations of the American Society for Heating, Refrigerating, and Air Conditioning Engineers be implemented. Other measures that can promote ventilation and filtration, such as allowing windows to be opened, providing air purifiers, permitting classes to meet outdoors when feasible, and adding hand sanitizer stations, would be appreciated as well. We also request the installation of additional hand washing stations near cafeterias or outdoor access points, as appropriate for the layouts of individual buildings. For instance, the routes between recess and lunch in elementary schools often do not include restrooms or have restrooms of insufficient size to accommodate an entire grade level. Third, even before the pandemic, MCCPTA was advocating to place more filtered water fountains that can accommodate refillable water bottles in schools. Our cluster is not asking for wholesale replacement or retrofitting of existing water fountains throughout the system, but it would be very helpful to our schools anyway to at least have fill stations available, for instance, on each floor of each building. I realize that these 3 items may be funded by the operating budget rather than the CIP, but these items are also ones that need attention now if our school buildings are to reopen in January. Throughout all aspects of the process to reopen the school buildings, our cluster joins MCCPTA and MCPS employees in urging the utmost transparency in decision-making and clear communication procedures. Our students, teachers, staff, and parents have proved amazingly resilient, resourceful, compassionate, and flexible throughout this crisis, and they need shared information so that we can all continue doing the hard work of education together. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you the best with the difficult budgetary decisions you face.
Thank you to this group of speakers in this section from our cluster coordinators. At this time, I will ask board members to show me a thumbs up if you have a question, and that way I won't go all around the mulberry bush. Okay. All right. I see 4, 3. Okay. So I'm going to start with Vice President Wolf.
Thank you. I wanted to know if someone could talk to me a little bit about capacity calculations. I was listening to the cluster coordinator from, I believe it was Rockville cluster, talk about Mendenhall, and she talked about the building capacity versus the actual services going on there. Could somebody talk to me a little bit about what she's seeing as the discrepancy?
Sure. We'd ask Ms. Karamihas if she could comment on that, or if we're going to need to go back and look at specifically how the school's being used. Ms. Karamihas?
Thank you. So the way that we do capacity calculations in general is, for example, at an elementary school, if it's a non-class size reduction school, the kindergartens are rated at one capacity, and grades 1 through 5 is at another capacity. And then if there is special education, based upon the special education class, the type of class, a classroom can be rated at a different rate. For example, 10 to 1 or 8 to 1. Our kindergartens are 22 to 1 and our classrooms are 24 to 1. And so what you do is you add all of that up, and that's how you get a capacity of a school. Now, for example, we do look at capacities every year, and it's possible that if there is an extra kindergarten room, for example, that's added from the year before, a classroom becomes a kindergarten room, that capacity of the school actually goes down, not by a lot. It goes from 24 to 22. So it's a difference of 2. So for example, if a school was 500, and if that room changed to a kindergarten room, it would then be 498, a minor change. But every year we do look at capacities of schools to determine, what each room is being used for. And we actually have done and do every year a principal survey that provides that information to us so that we know how the school is being used. We can and will check this school to see if, we're on if our information that we have is accurate. But that's how we do a capacity calculation. We do it at the middle schools and high schools, very similar fashion. At an elementary school, art, music, and the dual purpose room are not included in capacity because, of course, the elementary school kids do not rotate from room to room. They stay in their classroom for most of the day. And so we can double check that and certainly look into that, but that's in general the way that we do our capacities.
I guess I just want to try to understand this. So are those artificial numbers or real numbers? I mean, are you looking at the actual number of kids in each classroom? Because you said 22 to 1, 24 to 1, but right. Are those actual numbers of kids being served?
So it is, we don't do it based on staffing because of course every year staffing changes. So there would be no way that we would be able to reflect what goes on if another child is added to a classroom or subtracted from a classroom. Our capacities are general, are the average. And we actually align with the state in many of our capacity calculations. Special ed at the state is 10 to 1 across the board, regardless of the type of special education. And we actually we are a little bit more specific in the special education that's provided. And we tailor that capacity according to that special education program. But these are capacities that actually are in our guidelines. It's part of the process that we follow. It's actually in the policy. And so they are standard. We did change them. The Board of Education did change them when we started with class size reduction, because in a class size reduction school, it's 18 to 1. And at one point it was 15 to 1, and then it changed to 18 to 1. So those do get updated periodically, but not get updated based on staffing, because staffing can change, or the number of students in a classroom can change almost from day to day if we have a new student come in or 3 students leave. And so it is a standard for us to calculate capacity when we look at enrollment and then look at utilization.
Okay, so you have actual capacity versus these, what I would call artificial calculations in some way, shape, or form, right? So every year you get the actual numbers that are in a building.
So what we do, we send out.
Let me, if I can just, I'm sorry, let me just take one step back for a minute though, which is that the capacity of a building is, again, as Ms. Karamias is outlining, based on what the program is intended to support. And so, for example, class size is one example where a first grade classroom in a school that is not class size reduction would have a higher capacity than a room of the same size in a school that is class size reduction. Because again, as we were explaining, it does follow the guidelines for what those class sizes are intended to be. Then there's the enrollment of what students come to the building. And so that's where we certainly get every year the actual number of students who are in the building. But that doesn't necessarily change the program capacity, because what we always want to start with is what the room was intended to support from a program perspective. And that's where, again, the program can change a little bit based on whether it's a kindergarten room. We assume that fewer students will be in there than in an upper grade room, because again, that follows the board's class size policies that are put forward as guidelines. Understanding that if an additional student comes, certainly they're going to be allowed into that classroom. But when we calculate the capacity, it does reflect what level of use the room and therefore the school is intended to support. Again, that can be different from school to school. But then in every year also, when we capture the enrollment, that's when we count the actual numbers of students who are actually in the building. And so then that's the comparison of the enrollment to the capacity is sort of that piece of the difference there.
Thank you. And my only other question, and I'm not sure that I got exactly everything that was said, and bias not being there so that I could follow up with a question to the presenter. She referred to a 2008 renovation at College Gardens, which she says has never worked correctly. Did you get that? And if so, if not, I will review the tape and get in touch with you later about it.
We will review the tape though, and just send that back as a follow-up to the board on these, because I was completely unaware of that also. I also had questions about the Meadow Hall building utilization, which is kind of the third leg on that stool. You have the enrollment, you have the actual building capacity based on the formulas that are used for the size and number of rooms and the type of school. And then the third leg is how that building's actually used for that number of students. And so we'll give an analysis to the board on Meadow Hall, because I'm interested myself. I've been to that school a couple of times, and I'd like to fully understand what the Rockville coordinator was talking about.
Thank you.
At this time, we will go to Ms. Dixon and then Ms. Silvestre.
So first I want to just say thank you to Sarah Cortez, WJ Cluster, for her kind words. And Sarah, I do agree with you. I thought you spoke very eloquently about the need for the stadium at the New Woodward High School, because it is a matter of equity. And I just want to say also how much I enjoyed being able to work with the WJ Cluster again. You really pointed up something that was very special to me when I was there from 1993 to 1996, which was my first administrative assignment. And that is that the parents and wonderful students and staff, but the parents were always so gracious and thoughtful about saying thank you and being kind, which is, I think, one of the best characteristics of life, to be kind and to say thank you. And so that also, Sarah, you might be interested in knowing, led to some other text messages from folks in the WJ cluster as well. So thank you all to all of you. I only have really one regret, is being on the board, and that's not being able to go to a WJ graduation. I would ask for it every year, but Pat O'Neill is a graduate, so she certainly got to do that, but maybe at some time in the future. I will say that in the 3 years that I was in the WJ high school, there was not a day that went by that I did not enjoy going to work there. I just think you all are wonderful. And if there's anything that I can do for you in the future, because I will continue to be an educational advocate, please let me know. And also to our other parents who gave testimony, this is not to slight you in any way, but I did want to say that to Sarah. And I like your WJ green dress as well. It's interesting, the colors, the green colors that come up, but very attractive. So thank you very much for recognizing my service on the board.
Thank you, Ms. Dixon. So now we will hear from Ms. Silvestre.
Thank you. I just wanted to understand, Mr. Alan Jung spoke about no forecasted growth for Clarksburg Elementary. If you all captured that comment as well, I just wanted to understand how we come to that. You talked a lot about all the developments that are happening, additional houses being built. I don't understand what that's about, but if the staff could explain it to me, I would appreciate it.
Sure. Ms. Karamayhas, could you talk about the process that the system goes through with the jurisdictions, the municipal areas of the county, in terms of when projected development becomes part of the analysis that is done around future enrollment growth? Because it is a very complex but also very clear process about when potential growth actually becomes part of our projections.
Sure. So with development, because Clarksburg has such large development, that's certainly the impact of their enrollment growth. We do look at development and we start to incorporate or look to incorporate students and based on the student generation rates when preliminary plans are approved. So that's the first sort of step in the process. And so some of the projects that the cluster coordinator referred to, we actually do have incorporated in our future projections because they have been approved. We also look at timelines because they could be approved but not move forward for 10 or 15 years. So certainly we don't want to incorporate a development if we don't see it coming in the near future. In the case of Clarksburg, certainly there are some and they continue to roll through. There are certain ones that haven't finished being built, but we've already incorporated those as part of the projections. And just as a aside, in looking at the CIP, we have Clarksburg Elementary going up almost 200 students from this year to the last year of the CIP. So we certainly do reflect enrollment growth in that area, based, of course, upon because of the development and what we see coming in the future. But again, some of that has already been incorporated in the enrollment projections. But we do absolutely have a growth in the enrollment projections for Clarksburg Elementary School.
And Clarksburg Elementary was scheduled in last year's in the current CIP, and they went before the board last year. The board, you moved it forward, and then it was delayed by a year in the county council's discussions and work to balance the CIP budget, and so that is a factor that fits into all of this.
Okay. Thank you. So now we're going to continue on. We have one more testimony from a cluster coordinator. So I hope she doesn't feel slighted that she's in a category all by herself. We will now hear from Catherine Stocker from the BCC High School Cluster.
My name is Kathy Stocker, and I'm one of the cluster coordinators for the BCC cluster. I welcome this opportunity to represent the families of the over 7,200 kids currently enrolled over our 10 schools. Thank you to all the board members and the hardworking staff at MCPS for your service during this unprecedented and challenging time. I've had the pleasure of testifying many times before you. I've shared statistics and stories about how growth in our cluster and in downtown Bethesda is impacting our schools and how our hardworking principals have to get more and more creative finding space for our burgeoning enrollment numbers. We are very grateful for MCPS's past and current investment in our community. We were especially grateful that even despite a delay, Bethesda Elementary was finally going to get a long-anticipated addition. Now, in the midst of this pandemic and the resulting economic downturn, we understand that the superintendent had difficult choices to make, and we understand the reasoning employed to remove BE's addition from the CIP and instead spend significantly less to add space at Westbrook and include Bethesda in a new boundary study with Somerset and Westbrook. As each school is being impacted differently by this new recommendation, cluster representatives would like to share their individual perspectives on this new recommendation. In general, we have two concerns. One, we are very worried about the validity of doing a boundary study this spring of 2021, and would ask that resulting recommendations be very carefully reviewed in the fall of 2021 after we have verified enrollment data for the 2021-2022 school year. We would still have time to make adjustments before actually moving students as planned in the fall of 2022. Our second concern, even though the proposed study will presumably relieve crowding at Bethesda Elementary, we know that BE will be crowded beforehand, and we anticipate crowding will continue even after the boundaries have changed. We know that trying to meet everyone's needs right now must be like trying to wrestle a shrunken fitted sheet onto a too large mattress. So we know we cannot ask for the reinstatement of the addition at BE. What we are asking for instead is to please make sure that Bethesda Elementary gets priority in the placement of a modular classroom as soon as possible to help mitigate the crowding. The cost of this modular classroom plus the Westbrook shell is still dramatically less expensive than the originally proposed addition at BE. I'm now going to turn it over to our wonderful cluster representatives. Thank you for your service to our students and their families.
Thank you, Kathy. Good afternoon. My name is Kelly Flynn, and I am a parent and current PTA treasurer at Bethesda Elementary. I would like to spend a few minutes with you discussing the overcrowding issue at Bethesda Elementary. Although we were disappointed to see the addition for Bethesda Elementary removed from the proposed budget, we understand the financial constraints in the county in these difficult times. Unfortunately, even though the budget may require us to push the possibility of an addition at Bethesda Elementary, the reality is we are still grossly overcrowded, and a viable solution is needed to be found for both the immediate and the future of our community. At the end of last school year, our school was home to approximately 670 students, but it's only designed for a capacity of 560. Although we've seen some drop in enrollment due to the pandemic, our numbers are still above capacity, currently at 625, with the largest loss in the kindergarten, and we expect many of these students will return next year. The reality is, even with 6 portables, we are struggling to find a way to accommodate students. And as downtown Bethesda continues to bring new residential projects online, many high-rises apartments and condos, we do not expect the growth to stem over the next several years. In fact, directly across from the field at BE, the new apartment building, designed and being marketed to families, is near completion. While we are excited to welcome new community members and the diversity of ideas they will bring, we are also acutely aware that this will continue to put a strain on the facilities with lack of classroom space as well as lack of core space. With the classroom space available today, including the 6 portables, we already have entire grades eating lunch in their classroom because our cafeteria simply isn't large enough to accommodate them. We, as the evaluation of the core space at Bethesda Elementary and creative ways to expand core space, asks that this is included in the current proposal. We know the reality of the current situation is we need to find space for students to thrive. We implore the council not only to look at the options of boundary studies to relieve overcrowding, but in the short term, approve the installation of a semi-permanent modular classroom to allow for immediate relief. In addition, to echo the request of our elementary school neighbors, we ask that you carefully consider the enrollment numbers used in any boundary study, as we all expect MCPS numbers to rebound when we return to the school building, and specifically to account for growth related to residential construction in downtown Bethesda, as we do have many families in apartments and condo buildings. Also, we would ask that neighborhood continuity and walkability continue to be guiding principles in any boundary study. We are looking to these solutions to be sustainable for neighborhoods, not just a solution for the moment. Thank you again for allowing us to share our voice and point of view, as we know all share the desire to find solutions that will benefit all communities and all students. I'll turn it over to Megan.
My name is Megan Rose, and I am a BCC cluster representative for Somerset Elementary School. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. And Somerset Elementary appreciates all of your work to support our school. Somerset recognizes the reasonableness of examining boundaries among Somerset, Westbrook, and Bethesda elementary schools in order to balance enrollment and capacities at all three schools. We previously submitted testimony stating that we supported a thoughtful, transparent study of the boundaries between Somerset and Westbrook, with any recommended changes based on clear evidence and careful consideration of updated enrollment data in light of the current situation. However, we have serious concerns about the reasonableness of the current recommendation at this time. A proposed boundary study in the middle of a pandemic will necessarily lack valid or clear data upon which to rely, and there can be no accurate analysis of enrollment data at this point. We ask that either the recommendation be delayed in order to examine more relevant and accurate post-pandemic enrollment data, or that Somerset be excluded from at least the first phase of any recommended changes. First, we do not believe that past or present enrollment data for Somerset can provide support for any recommended changes. The pandemic has caused a dramatic decrease in enrollment at our school this year, and it has not been only at the kindergarten level. We currently have 503 students, down approximately 100 students from last year. Our current capacity is at about 93% of the 515 set capacity number. Our numbers may continue to dip. Last year, before the pandemic, Somerset was overutilized with official enrollment at 582, though the unofficial number was around 620. Previous enrollment data predicted that Somerset would be over capacity by 62 students for the school year 2020-21, a trend which was predicted to hold. These numbers and predictions are no longer accurate. No one, no school leader, education expert, policy expert, or statistician has any way of knowing how the pandemic will change Somerset's enrollment, or public school enrollment more generally. No one knows how many students will continue to exit the public school system, and we have no way of knowing how many will return. While some may ask that we use old data or hypothetical projections, assuming that our school growth trends will return to normal, many experts hypothesize that demographic shifts may be permanent. Moreover, even if a shift in population occurs at one elementary school, that trend may or may not be the same at another, and may or may not similarly return to normal growth rates. No one can know what the numbers will be. As we all know, the pandemic is not over. All of the data will continue to change. A study at this time likely will be based on flawed data and will fail to support any resulting recommendations. Indeed, results likely will be stale before they are even issued. Moving forward at this time presents additional stress and uncertainty for children and families at a time when much of life feels uncertain for our children. Many children are emotionally comforted in knowing that they eventually will be able to return to their school. A study which will look to move children from their current schools in a somewhat domino effect in an effort to march forward with something now does not further the interests of any of our families or any of our schools if we are not taking the time to get it right. For all of these reasons, Somerset Elementary respectfully asks that the board pause moving forward in order to examine more relevant and accurate post-pandemic enrollment data. In the alternative, if the board wishes to move forward during this uncertain time, Somerset requests that we be excluded from at least the first phase of the study and any recommended changes. Both Westbrook and Bethesda may have clearer under and overcapacity numbers justifying changes between the two schools. Somerset's data, on the other hand, is entirely muddied at this point in time. We would ask that our involvement in the proposed study and any resulting changes be delayed to more fully examine accurate information regarding Somerset's enrollment and capacity. Thank you again for your time and for your careful consideration of these important issues for our community.
At this time, I want to thank all of our cluster coordinators that have given testimony tonight, and we are going to open it up to board members to ask questions in regards to the BCC testimony as well as the boundary testimony. So you can give me a thumbs up as to who would like to ask questions. If it's everybody, I can go around, but I just want to see if there were questions from anybody. Seeing none, okay. At this time, we'll move on to the next section. This section is just individuals and organizations that are coming to give testimonies. We have 2 testimonies tonight, and the first testimony will come from Edward Reach.
President Evans, Vice President Wolf, and members of the Montgomery County Board of Education. My name is Ed Reich. I'm president of Georgetown Village Condominium, a 304-unit mid-rise condominium community in North Bethesda. Our southern boundary is Edson Lane across from the Edson Lane Forest. As you might already know from the large number of emails sent to you by our homeowners and other residents, we strongly oppose the building of a stadium on the Woodward site. In stating that my community opposes a stadium at the Woodward site, it is important to clarify what we do not oppose. We certainly do not oppose the new Woodward School. We welcome it. We also support having a full athletics program at Woodward. But we just do not believe a stadium of the type proposed is a necessary part of a full athletics program. Further, we do not oppose having a football field at the Woodward site. We even do not oppose having limited bleacher seating as exists there now, if it does not necessitate the destruction of the precious Edson Lane Forest. We simply oppose a 2,000-seat behemoth of a stadium as a waste of taxpayer dollars, a grossly inappropriate choice of funding priorities, and the destroyer of one of the few microforests in our part of the county. As I believe you know, MCPS originally proposed that there not be a stadium on the Woodward site. That made perfect sense then. It makes even more sense now. At the July 29, 2019 Board of Education hearing, Seth Adams indicated that while they certainly could put a stadium on the site, he noted it would cost considerable dollars and questioned whether this was the best use of limited funds. COO Andrew Zuckerman echoed that, noting the cost would be in the range of $20 million, and there was already a stadium 1 mile down the road. As he said, $20 million spent on the stadium was $20 million less available for such needs as roof replacement and HVAC. And remember, this was pre-pandemic. Mr. Adams also made a very cogent point. He said, quote, "I wouldn't necessarily equate a stadium in athletics," unquote. He noted many other school districts had separated them successfully, that having a football field did not compel having a stadium. And we've in fact identified well over 1,000 high schools sharing 307 stadia in 29 states. 4 weeks later, there was a community engagement working group meeting. This was really the first meeting at which neighborhood groups were invited. They presented 5 site master plan studies, every single one of which had a stadium. We don't understand what happened behind closed doors between the July 29 meeting and the community engagement working group meeting, that now there seemed to be a decision to put in a stadium, and the only question was where to put it. We believe there are substantial, legitimate questions about why a stadium is a higher priority than retrofitting our schools to be able to operate in this new reality, a reality unlikely to magically disappear. Can we really afford the business as usual approach? Is it not time to manage the school system as a true system, not as a set of independent school fiefdoms where each school has to have what every other school has, even if there are more cost-effective alternatives. That also raises a question of who this stadium is designed to serve. Is being represented that it's for the benefit of the Woodward students? Does that mean its use will be restricted to Woodward sports events only? If so, are we really saying that it's a priority, especially during this pandemic, to spend in excess of $20 million to build a stadium just so Woodward students and parents can drive to this stadium rather than to an already existing stadium 1 mile away a few times a year? Can you really say with a straight face that this makes sense? Or is there another unspoken agenda to use the facility as a revenue generator to rent out to other users? If so, it is incumbent on you to be upfront with the community about the true agenda, that we're talking about destroying a precious environmental resource to create a cash cow for the school system. Please don't destroy the Edson Lane Forest. Please don't waste funds on the wholly unnecessary stadium. Please do the right thing. Thank you very much for your time and attention.
Thank you. So last but certainly not least, we will hear from Dan Byerly from the Westbrook PTA. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dan Byerly. I am the PTA cluster rep for Westbrook Elementary School. Westbrook Elementary School, we welcome our neighbors to our school, but we hope that the district is thoughtful and measured in implementing its boundary changes. We want to ensure that MCPS commits to opening the shell space that already exists at Westbrook in order to provide adequate space for our newest Eagles. We also hope that any construction will be completed over the summer to avoid interruptions to our students' learning. We urge MCPS to consider traffic patterns around our school and time the movement of students to allow our school community time to plan. We ask the county to make their decisions with an eye towards the constantly changing enrollment data in these unstable times. The Westbrook PTA looks forward to participating in a collaborative, careful, and transparent process that will prepare our school to embrace the newest members of our community of caring. Thank you.
Thank you. So at this time, we will open it up for board members to ask questions. Thumbs up to board members that want to ask questions, have questions? No, they don't. Okay. So thank you to all of our community, our staff, our students that came out to provide testimony virtually. We appreciate that. Thank you to Ms. Karen Mijas, Ms. McGuire, Mr. Adams for all your work that you've done on the CIP. I want to thank our board staff, MCPS TV, for helping us put together this virtual public hearing for you all. And I will end it by saying, I hope you all, if you have not voted, you will perform your civic duty tomorrow on November the 3rd and go and vote. Very important. And so we will see you back here on Thursday, November the 5th at 6 p.m. Take care and be safe.